staging, we actually do a lot of workshops for sellers, and one of the main things that we talk about is how important staging is to not only get buyers to see your home online, but also to get them in the door to get offers and sell your house. So we, not me personally, but our marketing person does a lot of data-driven information that we share at the workshops as well. And homes that are staged sell quicker, they sell for more, and they look better. And a lot of times too, I think that there are some homes that are maybe the sellers think they're updated, but the buyers may not necessarily think they are. So the staging that you guys provide also gives them that look of, wow, this is such a cute home, and they may overlook the vinyl countertops or something else that, you know, if they want granite. So that's why we love staging.
Can everyone hear me without the microphone?
It's hard in the back.
Okay, it feels nice.
I know it's weird, but
Can everyone hear me?
It's hard.
So I really enjoy staging. It's a huge benefit to the sellers. I've never met one seller who says, "Nah, I don't want to sell for not top market value. I want to just sell for a month before I get a contract." So it's a huge benefit for them. Even though they're paying money, their net's going to go up 10, 15, 20,000 just on the market. And then if you get multiple offers in, then it can go up even more. We know what kind of market we're in. Last year was nuts. You put a for sale sign in the yard, you get calls right off the bat, you might get some offers before it goes live. Now you need a little bit more work to do those listings, and that's where the people that show homes are the experts, and they make us look like rock stars. Like when we get those photos in, when those sellers see that staging for the first time, and they say, "Is that my house? I don't even want to sell anymore." So like, sometimes, well, you still need to sell, sorry, but and so the sellers love the service, they love the benefit of just getting more money in their pockets. That's what our goal is. I think Angela would agree with that. And it sits for less. We don't have to have them on the market for weeks, doing showings, open houses. The sellers can go back to their lives sooner. Brex, he connected with Frank early on, and he's just been a great communicator from the get-go, helped him get going in real estate, answering questions. He's just a great communicator from the point. You know, he never over-promises. It's under-promise, over-deliver 100% of the time. So, very first listing, put them in touch with the seller. It was a success story from day one, and I just use it for every single one of my listings. Since then, I showed any other seller, like, hey, here's a listing I did with staging. And if one seller's like, I might have one seller who said absolutely not, I show the comparison, and there is a huge difference. So after that, every seller used to show homes.
love it, love it.
Similar story. So Frank and I met at the Frisco Chamber of Commerce about a year and a half ago. Actually, I think it was Howard first, and then Frank and I met. And then I got in touch with John, and he staged one of our first staging was a very particular seller and very ornery. Right? That's the word I would use. Poor Zoe. She was in there like, because they lived in the house as well, and they were, she was not having it. The lady was like not excited about the staging, but after it was done, it was perfect. And Zoe has also, like in one of our last listings, ordered special furniture. If the doors were like things that we wouldn't think of as realtors, right? The doors wouldn't open with the dining room being so small, so she ordered a dining room and also a primary bedroom for the lights to fit perfectly. She always goes over and checks out the homes first, and it's just there's so many ways to communicate. Frank is always calling me, hey, we're gonna move this date. Like it's just constant, excellent customer service. So I'm a huge fan of show homes. We do a little differently. We actually pay for the staging with our commission. So all of our homes, we offer staging that are vacant. And I never have to worry. I never have to go over, like a lot of stagers I know do a great job, but the quality of the furniture isn't as good. Like I could go on and on. I just think, I think show homes is top notch for sure. Yeah.
Nice.
So do you pay out of your
Commission.
at closing, or do you?
Yes, no. We've done it two ways. We either pay up front and then at the closing, but we just changed it where now that we know and trust and everything, we pay everything up front.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, we have some new people here.
Well, I'm very old school, and I do not trust anybody that's just emailing me or we do a lot of networking in our real estate business, and like I said, I met Frank at the chamber and probably would not have used show homes otherwise. So it's all about the connections, being in front of people, going to real estate offices, talking to builders, investors, just, you know, getting your name out there. Otherwise, people aren't gonna see people won't even open your email these days. I know that I'm bombarded with emails, as, you know, 99% of us in this room. So I think it's really important that you guys are just, same with realtors, right? We have to get out there, we have to talk to the people selling the homes, you have to talk to people that are meeting the sellers and that type of thing. So I think it's just all about talking to people.
Yeah, getting face to face is huge, or just finding a middle partner, whether that maybe you know a lender that you don't know your realtors, that person can be connecting. But to really show yourself as difference is just providing that big value. Build that trust. You're going to build trust by providing value to that realtor. Outside of that, it's just being available. Communicating is huge, especially in our industry when sellers are blowing us up. Hey, change your plans. I need this done ASAP.
Yeah.
Being able to call you like, help me.
Or you get to the house that's occupied and there's just like nothing's done. Yeah, our assistants the other day said that if you're in real estate, you have to be partly crazy. And I think that it's all of us in here have to have some sort of like fluid, like go with the flow, like, okay, here we are. There's always hiccups with not every transaction. You try to make sure that things are seamless, but there's just, people don't do it, you tell them to do. A lot.
How do you feel about virtual staging?
We do both. If we were offering both, even if but only with people that have pets or that you guys may not want to stage, right? You don't want to go into a home that has 3 dogs that's going to be jumping on your furniture. So at our workshops, what we talk about is we will either stage your home if it's vacant, or we'll do virtual staging if it's occupied. And again, if it's an occupied property but they need a few things, we'll still offer that if needed. But since we pay for it and they're living there, and we know a lot of times you guys don't want to. We had somebody that had a pet. Yeah.
So curious, talking about that, when you do a virtual staging or you take a buying client into a place that they've seen the pictures online, what's the feedback that you get when you walk in and there is no furniture? What's the feeling of the person that walked in with one perception?
No, great question, man.
We call it a bait and switch.
That's what we call it in our workshop too.
Yeah.
Then we go ahead.
No, you're absolutely right. And sometimes staged homes online, you can see it's obviously staged, so it's not a huge shock to people. Sometimes those virtual stage photos look somewhat realistic. They might look a little weird, but people are like, it could be like real staging. And then you walk in, and you just don't have that welcome feeling. It's hard for buyers to picture it as a home. And I work with a bunch of buyers as well as sellers, but buyers, when it's a vacant home or virtually staged and they walk in, they can't picture their furniture because they're already buying a home. They don't want to buy all the furniture either, so if they can't picture the furniture they have there, they're like, oh, let's go to the next one. I just can't picture myself living here.
So the general feeling is they have an expectation, they're let down, and they're not then really as into wanting to look at it as much, or not as enthused by as they might have otherwise been.
It can be, but also when I say we virtually stage, we don't virtually stage vacant homes. It's the homes that are occupied, the furnishings. So we tell the seller we're still going to virtually stage to show that modern look or something that the buyers are actually looking for. But I do think that buyers are disappointed when they walk in and just see. But as realtors, I know we always put that the photos have been virtually staged, but you can't read a room or really know what it's going to look like without having furniture in the room.
Right.
So.
Also,
we've worked with in Houston, and he came up with a great idea, and he started making a portfolio of when he would stage a property and what it would look like, and kept all of his numbers. I'm wondering if you guys do anything like that when you go meet your sellers or anything. I just found that was such a really smart way for him to get a listing by showing what he does and how it can change the feel of the home. And then his numbers as well, like how much faster it can sell his properties.
We do that, but not in a book, because 90% of our sellers go to our workshop already. So that's the very beginning of, look, this is the house before with some light staging, this is the house before, so, and we show what the difference in the pricing is, with like a model map.
Yeah.
What I generally do when I'm pulling comps or if I put together past listings that I've done, I just put it together because you can do a cloud CMA and you just have it all saved to your computer. You don't have to do the workbook. It's a little bit easier to look at, just the key points of the data.
Yeah.
And I'll say, hey, this home was staged, it was listed here, it sold higher, days on market. And they're like, oh, this home, the seller refused to stage, dropped 60K, days on market,
Yeah.
70 days.
Yeah.
And then I'll show more, actual comps in the area. This home is staged, here's the selling price. This home was not staged, look at days on market, look at selling price, it sold for 95%. This one sold for 105% the list price. And then they're like, at that point, it's kind of a
Do
no-brainer.
you give them an idea of the stage prices, or do you guys go into that at all? Like, they spent X, roughly blah, blah, blah amount? Because I think a lot of sellers, when they hear staging, they see dollar signs. And, we run into this as stagers where you'll reach out and you're like, yeah, you could stage it, da, da, da. Well, then the next day they drop it.
Once they experience the power of staging, they become believers, and I feel that you're doing something really smart, because you are using staging as a marketing tool, and that's what's helping you win listings, because I too have realtors that are paying for the staging themselves. So I think it gives you that advantage that now you're gonna get more listings, you're gonna get a better track record, your house is gonna sell faster, so you're just gonna
Be better.
be better.
Well, and I'm sure that you probably do a lot of social media too, right? That shows, no?
Minimal.
Yeah, well, that's.
I
we
learned what a
use-
reel was 6 months ago. I'm not
Yeah,
organized.
I hate it, but we have somebody do it for us, but we also show like, look at this house. It did look like this before, like, wow, look at the difference and things like that, so. I don't know.
So I just wanna know what your first contact was with Show Homes Frisco and how you decided, obviously, once you saw their work, you're like, these are the ones for me, and the professionals and everything, but it's that first contact, and then, where did that come from, and how did that develop into a relationship?
One of my first memories of Frank, he hijacked a conference room at Whiskey Cake.
Why does this not surprise us?
Just set up shop and then the other
Wait a
company
minute,
came.
we went there, no one told me you had moved it. So I walked in with the projector and I said, where do I set up? And he goes, right here. And I said, we gotta change the tables, but I need the screen, so we moved everything around.
What a great selling point. Already staging.
Space planning.
Everybody came in, and we're sitting there, and the manager showed up, because I went in the employees entrance, because I was trying to get set up before everybody got there. So the manager wasn't there.
What your house will sell for if you do these things that we talk about doing some fix-ups, doing the staging, we offer professional photography, like, a lot of agents only want the listing and they're like, I'll do it for this, and they get photos and that's it. And that really is, I think, the difference with agents that are actually getting listings. And I went on 3 listing appointments last week. 1 canceled, 2 canceled, 1 expired, that we got the listing because those agents just didn't do anything. They were like, we're not getting showings, and we always say too, and this is a line that I stole from one of our San Diego partners, it's not a pricing issue, it's a presentation issue, most of the time. So if that is what is happening, you aren't getting showings and your house is priced lower per square foot, and it's on this great lot in this neighborhood, it's because your house didn't show well online and people didn't come in the door. Marissa's been raising her hand. That's gonna cost so much.
Yeah.
I don't wanna do that.
San Diego has a question.
So I'm curious, when you do your workshops, is it just you guys, the realtors, doing the workshop, or do you invite Show Homes to come in and present about staging, or you guys just present the staging?
We talk about,
You talk
the
about it,
staging,
okay.
yeah, we've talked about, when they started, would invite lenders and different partners that they partnered with, but it's just the 3 of us,
Okay.
yeah, we've got it like down as a, presentation.
And what percentage?
I'd also like to learn more about those,
Could we provide, or Show Homes
local provide you with before and afters and stuff for your presentation?
Absolutely, yeah, of course. We use those, yeah. We use actual homes that Kindred has sold, but they're in there.
Yeah.
They're not, we don't say this is show home staging,
Yeah.
but they know, like when we list with them, that you know, that's our go-to. I talk to Frank
That
often.
sets their expectation.
Yeah. And I will say, show homes, we've used another stager too who is fabulous and also as responsive, but their quality is not as good. And it just depends on the price point too, I think, of the home. But like when you walk into a show homes model, it looks like a model. It looks and shows like a model home. Like it's so different than the other staging companies that we've used.
So what is your price point? I'm just curious.
All over, like, cause we do those, like today we're going on two that are, in the 300s, and then Zoe just sold a home that was $1.2 million last time.
If you don't mind me asking, when you talked about the differences in your other stager and what these guys do, can you elaborate on that a little bit more about the differences?
Yes, so for one thing, Frank will go over and take photos of the home where even I've offered and said, to save you guys time, and maybe to save us a little money. But they were like, no, because Zoe wants to see, she wants to feel the home, right? And that doesn't happen with other stagers. They're just like, send me photos and then we'll be there. And then there's times too when they show up and they're like, this shouldn't be a bedroom, it should be an office. So that is one plus. And then I really just can't, the customer service is amazing. They're ready to destage. They always say, hey, it's coming up, are you ready? And sometimes I might forget, you know? Closing's happening and they're like, it's just, there's a lot of communication and there's a lot of partnership back and forth where, you know, like I said, what other stager is gonna go out and buy a dining room table for a home because the doors don't open properly?
I mean, we would always.
I know, but a lot won't. I mean, we didn't just stage in Texas, we did it in California too, back in the day, but we didn't pay for it then either, but they would just, no, and even we would get frustrated because we'd be like, okay, these aren't really our partners, they're just like coming in and, you know, you don't even trust that the photos are gonna be ready to go. Like, right now, we stage a home and we know that it's perfect when they leave. So the next day the photographer comes in and we're good to go. If another one does it, I don't trust that. Right? You know, because as markets change too, we may not offer that anymore as part of our package, but we will highly recommend that the seller pay for it. So, you know, it just kind of, and not in this market, but I started my career in another market, and we did that. We may not have you guys come on the first visit, but we'll be like, Frank will be in soon, or Zoe, or whoever's gonna join, you know, come in and do a consultation for you guys.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're like my honor.
Thanks. I would love to know more about those workshops you're doing, and how are you getting homeowners to come to them?
We spend a lot of money on those. Like more than I want, that's for sure.
No, that's really great.
We started Kindred in San Diego, and I was a broker there and started with the two people that we work with now. Okay, good. I'm a Texan, not born here, but raised here. So when my husband back there retired from the Navy, we moved back to Texas. So I totally got excited about San Diego. What was the question?
How do you market to homeowners?
Okay. So yes, so David and Anthony in San Diego started doing these workshops years ago, but we do like those, you know, even when financial advisors are sending you guys things saying, come for dinner at Ruth Chris, that's what we offer them, a complimentary dinner. And I was like, we're doing what? Okay, because we pay out. We're gonna do it, but I trusted them, and it's worked very well. But they're sold out every single time now. So
How many
we had 50 people at the one in Brio and South Lake. We did one every month this summer. It was exhausting. May, June, July, and August, and they come from San Diego and stay at our house. So but it's great. I mean, it's a fabulous way for us to get listings. Because when I got back into real estate, I took a hiatus when we moved back to Texas because it's a lot to be a realtor. And and then after opening our business and closing it down, we thought, okay, my husband and I decided to open it back up. But then it really has been, I only wanted to work with sellers, and this has been a fabulous way. Not that I won't work with buyer, but you know, it's, yeah, I was ready to just work with sellers.
And what kind of content do you cover in those workshops?
We have 5 strategies to drastically increase your selling price. If you want to know more.
They're free to.
That's awesome. Liliana?
Yeah, so I would just to share with you guys and you as a realtors a strategy we implemented and it works really, really well. So when the sellers hear the word staging, they
For most people, I should say.
Maybe you guys could do a brochure showing like this is a home we staged and this is what it sold for, and this is a house down the road that sold for this much less, or the, you know, the because I know it is really a hard pill for sellers to swallow because it is an expensive addition. That's why we decided to include it in our commissions and not have to even argue with them about it. We're like, we'll pay for it, just
So
do
this
it.
is part of your marketing program. and
Yes.
What you bring to the party if they
Yes.
list with you.
Yes.
And you guys look at it individually. Okay.
Yeah, so you bring up a good point, is overcoming the objection during the listing presentation of staging. And in my presentation, I just go through the steps of what we do to get it ready, and I briefly touch on staging. Because like you said, sellers are staging, I'm not staging. I don't try to butt heads with them then, because I can't sell your business until I close my business. So that's something you can teach your realtors. If they're trying to sell multiple services, it's very unlikely they're gonna get both. And that's when we'll look at the home and I'll say something along the lines of, you have a massive, beautiful, open floor plan living room, kitchen. You have a really big couch. And sometimes they'll even bring it up like, oh, I know my couch is huge. Well, I know some people who could really help with that. Well, I really just don't want to spend the money. That's when we go to the comps. You see this home? They dropped it 10K. Would you rather drop it 10K or pay $4,000?
So sometimes in our, we go with the realtors on their listing appointments. I don't know if that's something that you guys do. If you don't, I think it's a great tool for you to bring an expert with you on your listing appointment, because we can talk to whether they're a buyer that you want to take, if they can't see the house the way they want it, we can come in with them and help them visualize the way the house could.
I think it's a rectangle.
It's a good,
It's a good show.
It's a good type based on shapes.
I guess I can live with that.
It's a compliment.
I just really like to thank you guys for continuing to be here. Share this time with us. We know you
Yes.
guys.
Thanks for having us.
This was very valuable. Thank you so much. Thank you, Frank, for lining it up. We're gonna take a break now, and we'll be going over to lunch at noon. So you've got 10 minutes. Your tables need to be cleaned off, because we'll be
Right, that we can offer.
It also comes down to, you guys always have your own people.
Right.
You've got the bylaw guy, the landscape guy.
Right.
We're one-stop shopping. We got that there.
Yeah.
And it has not, it's always back to your trust factor. It's what it always is. It's like, no, I got it.
I'm already thinking that, I'm like, I'm gonna have to meet this person.
I know a guy.
But that was the finance.
That's awesome, yeah.
Howard does that for us now.
Oh, see, Howard is still with us. I misunderstood, we'll talk about that later.
Lisa.
I'd just like to say that, you know, we work with hundreds of realtors, and the big joke even in the real estate community is it's a low bar of entry to become a real estate broker or real estate agent. And I just want to say how much I appreciate you guys, because you guys are obviously on your game and know what the heck you're doing, and it's so refreshing to talk to realtors who know what they're doing. You know, I mean, it just, we talk to a lot of people that just, you're like, oh my gosh, they just do not know what they're doing. So,
I just answered a call this morning. They want us to be able to stage on Thursday. It's like
And it's like a big house, you know, a multi-million-dollar listing, and the realtor's calling me, we want to stage on Thursday and take pictures, and it's like.
And
no.
take pictures at 2. I'm not gonna lie, I think I might have said that to Zoe once.
I was actually talking to
Sorry.
a little partner of mine kind of about this, about how a lot of realtors just don't have that kind of business etiquette mindset of realistic expectations. He'll get a call Friday at 8:30 saying, hey, I got a buyer, they want to talk to you about a strategy. He's like, okay, tell me about it. They just lost their job, they have horrible credit, and he's just like, I want to help them, but this isn't urgent. So I think there is definitely that business train that a lot of realtors need to have. I think it, for you guys, sometimes just setting that expectation of, hey, we can do this, however, it's gonna have to be a different timeline. I'm sure you guys do that.
Actually, we laugh.
Even after all these years, you sound like you're a little better at time management than me. I'm like, okay, where do we go? Well, all right, so let's see, great.
Squiggle?
We'll look at that one later.
No one call me Circle, okay?
I think that you guys have a larger inventory too, which is a big selling point, and why you can be so quick. I know other stagers can't. They can't do multiple homes because they just don't have enough furniture to put. That's a good selling point, I guess.
And I think you kind of have to, if you're most of the time recruiting sellers to pay for the staging themselves, you kind of have to give. I try to tell my realtors, you're landing the listing. I don't expect you to sell my business, but I need you to support it and give them some of the words to use. And one of the biggest things is the price of the staging is always less than their first markdown. The price of the staging is always less than the first markdown.
Yes.
Yeah. So if and you can't turn the clock back. So let's just see if it does okay vacant, and then I'm like, no, because what's going to happen is you're going to pay to stage it, and you're going to take a market down. So you that's how to get them to do it first and up front. Because so many realtors have it. They're like, well, staging is back. It doesn't work first. You're leaving money on the table when you do that.
Yeah, by then it's too late. You have to have everything ready to go the day it's listed, or it's like pointless, because then that's when buyers are most excited. They're like, oh, did you see this listing pop up on? We gotta go this weekend at the open house, or whatever. We have to go see it. That's when the agents get the call.
But I think that making sure that those realtors know that they're not having to sell the staging. That's what, the staging company does, but to be the partner and support it and to let them talk to you. Because that's what I said. I don't expect you to sell my staging. I expect you to open the door and give me the connection to that seller and let me talk to them.
Yeah.
And that's my business to sell my staging to them. So if they feel like they're having to sell themselves as a realtor and sell staging too, sometimes that's overwhelming because it's hard enough to get the listing.
I agree with that, yeah.
So I think that's how I would go about it. So don't feel like you have to sell the staging, just be supportive of the staging, emphasize how important it is, and say, you realize that if you don't stage up front, then you're gonna have markdown. And then you might stage it later, so you're spelling your
Okay.
I was gonna say, if the price of staging is really an objection for some of the new real estate agents that you're trying to recruit and everything, as show homes, we have financing partners available to us. Now, Frank and his team would need to sign up for that, but basically it would allow them to have their staging paid for up front, and then they don't have to pay for it until close. So that helps a lot of clients too.
That's good.
That's cool,
Yeah.
Well, with Jordan.
Hearth Financial is available to us.
We've got it.
Yeah, you have it?
We have it.
There you go.
We have, they use credit card, and before the first payment comes due, we've already sold the house.
Yeah.
That one always works well.
Very good.
The other side of realtors paying in our market, they don't discount their commissions, right? It's a 6% pretty much all the time. But what they'll do is they'll offer to pay for the staging, but they get it back from the seller at closing.
Oh, they pay up front.
Yeah.
I've done that a couple of times.
Yeah.
It's just find creative solutions to the objections.
A simple solution that I've used before is sometimes the agent can cover some of the costs, or maybe they only do, but maybe the just doesn't see the value. I've had the agent pay half and the seller pay half, and at that point, you only were doing $2,000 each, and that can become really approachable and get the seller to buy in. Either one of those sides could be a deferred payment or a payment at closing. One of them could be upfront, you know. But that's just it's just an easy way to.
We work in, I don't know that that will happen because there are really strict restrictions on, and I don't know exactly what they are, but I don't see a whole lot of Airbnbs in this area. I know other parts of Dallas probably.
Yeah,
but
Dallas County, Tanner County, they don't allow Airbnbs. They only allow at least 1 month rentals, unless it's a condo or townhouse, something like that. I think more cities, if it's not a vacation destination, are gonna have more restrictions to short-term rentals. I think they're more adopting a month to month, just because there's been so many complaints. So I foresee like places like Broken Bow, Galveston, Hot Springs, vacation spots. That's where you're gonna see more Airbnbs, but I don't think Airbnbs are gonna cause a huge shift in the market. At least not for W. Yeah.
Yeah.
Leanne's been raising her hand.
Right.
So you mentioned sort of the height of the pandemic when everybody could just stick sign in their yard, get 100,000 over asking. Were you still staging during that period? And if so, why? Why? We saw so many real estate agents just say like, "Why? I don't need to stage."
I wasn't, because I didn't have any listings my first year, so I'm gonna pass the mic to Angela